Hey guys, welcome back. Funky Like Feathers here, and today we're going to be reviewing Skulduggery Pleasant. Now, before we get started, I want you guys to tell me down in the comments the worst book you have ever read. Not the best book. I mean, that's usually the most common question, right? What's your favorite book? What's your favorite story? I want to know your least favorite and why. So put that down in the comments. Let me know. Now, as much as I want to be completely positive when it comes to reviews, and I want to say all the amazing things, there are some books that just do not quite earn an amazing review, and this happens to be one of those such books. Now, before I dive into the issues that I have with this story, let's talk about the good stuff here. Obviously, it's a pretty good size, right? The format is nice. It's well done. I also really liked the, little bit of an illustration that we got incorporated with the first letter of every single chapter. There's some kind of small character there, which is kind of cool. I do like the fact that the chapters have titles. A lot of times nowadays you don't get an actual heading with the chapter title. So we do still get that in this book, which is pretty cool as well. The cover art is pretty neat. It's got really attractive colors, the dimension is there. So this is Skulduggery Pleasant. Now on the back, it does not have the blurb that you're looking for, right? So on the back, it's not gonna give you that. However, the blurb is, some kid's name is in the front. It is in the front. So you do get that blurb inside of the book, but it's not gonna be on the back cover. To give you kind of an idea of what the story is about, Skulduggery is a detective, obviously not alive, who is trying to help the main character, Stephanie, figure out exactly what happened to her very well-off uncle who just died and left her a house and apparently powers. So along this way that they're trying to figure out what happened to her uncle, she finds out that she, has different abilities, and you get all sorts of crazy kooky characters in the background who have different abilities. It was a little refreshing also to have a character who was very laid back and conversational. So Skulduggery himself is very chill. His personality comes through well in the dialogue as well. You get a good conversational tone with him, which is pretty neat. Stephanie is a young teenager age bracket. So, she also kind of has a fun, they quip back and forth with each other. So that's also a little refreshing as opposed to the more serious tones that we get with other books. That's about where the good stuff's gonna stop here. Now we get into the nitty-gritty. This story was so frustrating to read for so many different reasons. The pacing is it changes. So during a fight scene, you'll get where time slows down and you get an exact blow by blow, turn by turn, step by step description of what everybody's doing. The rest of the time, you kind of get stuff going. However, because there are either new concepts or new characters introduced in almost every single scene, it gets very difficult to kind of take in the information in the story because there's just so much constantly being thrown at the reader. Here's the other issue. There are so many S words and names in the book. It was almost like, did the author get a dare to write like this? I have no idea. We've got Skulduggery, we have Stephanie, we have Serpine. They're looking for the scepter. And then they take out the name of Stephanie and just give us pronouns. So even if you're not talking about Stephanie, you're talking about she. We finally kind of started reading it slower so that you could see all the S words as they serendipitously showed up throughout the stanzas of this story. Yeah, it's like that. So the writing style was very difficult to get through. In addition to all of the S words, there was also an extreme lack of dialogue tags. You literally have no idea who's talking at all. Let me actually look. Okay, for example, page 278 in this book has literally only one dialogue tag. I'm gonna hold it up for you guys. So up here on the page, we have one dialogue tag that Stephanie said something. The rest of the time, it's just quotes. It makes it very easy to lose track of who's actually talking in a scene. And because Stephanie and Skulduggery have very similar ways of talking, especially since we read this out loud, you lose who's talking. There's no way to tell what's going on. And then they kind of become what I call the Furby situation. The Furby's in a black hole because you get two characters talking to each other with nothing everything else going on. You lose track of the environment that they're in. There's no movement happening during the conversation. It becomes very difficult to really get involved in the scene because you just have these two Furbies talking to each other. I'm old. Take the reference. One of the other issues I had was the lack of reality setting into this. Now let's just accept the fact that this is a fantasy story, right? We have a skeleton dude who is a detective. I'm willing to accept that. But let's move forward from that. The reality of what Stephanie has put into, a lot of these scenes happen overnight. They happen literally, during the time that she would usually be sleeping. Now, again, she's a teenager. During the day, you would assume that she would be at school or have some kind of activity going on. In the entire book, we never see her go to class. There is one day that she actually has her reflection from a mirror come to, out of the mirror, and it hangs out in her room for the day while she goes on adventures with Skulduggery. She never sleeps, which is weird, and we never see her eat either. And I'm not saying I want, an exact menu of everything that she ate, but at some point your characters are going to need to eat, sleep. They have basic functions that need to be met like that, and we never see the main character deal with any human situations, which obviously Skulduggery doesn't need to deal with, but Stephanie does. So one of the last things that I wanted to mention specifically was also the family situation. Now, Stephanie has both of her parents. Her mom and dad are still married. They live in the same house, but we really don't get an intro to her parents themselves. We learn more about her aunt, uncle, cousins, the extended family. We get introduced to more, and those characters are built up more profoundly than Stephanie's own parents. So it seemed, kind of strange. So out of 5 stars on Goodreads, I ended up giving Skulduggery Pleasant only 1 star. I'm not the only person who gave it only 1 star. I know that there are going to be some people who absolutely love this book, which is great. For me, it's an absolute no. The farther that we read into this book, the more and more I just wanted to DNF it. I was willing to put this book aside very quickly just because the plot didn't really flow well. We had a lack of character arcs going on. There were too many characters. There were too many S's. It was just a very strange situation for a story. I don't think I'm gonna get past that. I think I will continue making S jokes for a while. Take it as you will. Again, different books, different readers. I would love to hear from you guys. What are some of these books that you definitely just never want to step into again? Let me know down in the comments. I want to hear from you guys, and I will see y'all on the next video. Bye, you guys.